Hey ho! So Mattzilla video. I want to talk to you guys a little bit. Basically, I'm going to spend this entire video talking about the FPV system, what I'm using, why I think what I'm using works, make some recommendations, and you guys saw this already where I had the FPV system mounted inside, looking around inside here in the cage, and that was really fun. I got a new setup that makes this more versatile for me to use it on other trucks, and I want to show you what I've been doing with that and with these antennas and stuff. So here we go with FPV on the Mattzilla. So Fat Shark is essentially the guys who know what they're talking about when it comes to FPV. If you want to get a system that actually works right out of the box, Fat Shark is the way to go. They provide goggles, transmitters, antennas that match, and just about anything that you could need as far as accessories. They also have something really cool on this particular system, which is a little tiny power cleaner. So you can plug in your 3S or 2S receiver, or 4S even, charge plug for your LiPo, just plugs right in, the balance port. And this thing cleans up the power to give you a nice clean transmitter feed. Little extras like that Fat Shark does that I love, that they really have done a good job with the actual parts, kind of like ingredients, mixing, like it's like you're making a cake, you know, and you want it to look good and taste great, and you need components that all work together really well so that you have something that'll be yum yum in the end. That's what they do. The system that's in the description box on YouTube, in the box below, that's the system I'm running on this. I'm really happy with the totally stock setup that came in that box. This version works really well. Obviously, I think you're going to expect that these are intended for air flight on quadcopters, airplanes, stuff like that, and I have not used this system yet in the air, although I will when the weather warms up. But for now, I've been using it on the Mattzilla, I've been using it on the Jeep, and love it. Love it. I've had a couple questions about resolution. You know, is the picture quality any good? What should I expect? Stuff like that. Basically, what you're doing is you're looking through a set of tiny goggles, like this, that are basically two little TV screens right on your face, okay? That's all you get to see. So, because of that, and the quality's pretty good. I mean, you can distinguish everything that's going on. There's a little switch on the top of the goggles that you can select really fast as you're going. You can brighten or darken the screen. You know, so there's some really easy ways to make it viewing nice, like the icing on the cake, if you will. A little bit of changes here and there. So, I put the gimbal thingy here on the truck. Link also in the description box on YouTube. You can go right to the part. They're all bolt-on. This little servo jobby here that I've got from Hobby King, as well as the FPV system, they work together directly. There's nothing to do. You just plug it all together. I wanted the servos because I wanted to be able to pan the camera around. This thing actually moves on a servo head, which I can control from my transmitter. I have a setup in my transmitter. I'm using hacked GT3C radios from HeyOK Performance. Link in the description box on YouTube for HeyOK Performance. They're flashed radios, meaning they're not stock GT3Cs. They're actually new software is flashed into them. It gives you channel selection and everything else. So on my pistol grip radio, I have 8 channels. I can do anything I want on that, and I only need 4 channels on this. I have steering, throttle, swivel, and then I have my other servo, which gives me my up and down, so I can look around and see if I'm going to hit obstacles, or if I want to look down and find out what the rocks look like beside the tire. So that's my 4 channels. I need to do lights next. That's on the list, because these work really good at night. On my Jeep, I have a huge light bar right here. You can see no problem driving the Jeep at night. It's the craziest thing ever. you need a really good, decent light bar on top. And if you want, you can do headlights, you can do spotlights, you can do underglow, all that stuff. The camera transitions to dark and light really, really well. It's impressive, it really is. And I'm very happy driving the Jeep at night, so I'm going to add lights onto this as well. Now, antennas is a big issue. This is round. It's called a circular polarized antenna. Inside here is actually this is just a plastic cover. I don't know how to get this off. I think it's glued on, but if I can get it off, I'll show you what the antenna looks like. There we go. The inside of it is kind of like this strange bent honeycomby thing, and that's called circular polarization, whereas this antenna is a linear antenna. This is a circular polarized. So what's the difference? I'll tell you right now what the difference is. It's very easy. This antenna here has a dome on top, as you can see. Let me click this back together here so I don't end up getting it bent or anything. The circular polarized antenna actually produces a dome of signal above it. I don't think I did that right, but it seems to be on there. No, it's not. So, just as you see, this thing is kind of a domey shape, round dome. The signal that this produces is a big dome of signal that goes out in a big dome like this all the way around. The only reason you really want a circular polarized antenna is this. I'll tell you right now why. If you're doing rock crawling and stuff where your antenna is constantly in motion and it's swinging back and forth like this, and you have lots of off camber, or if you're flying airplanes and they're upside down or right side up or they're tipping like this, you can see how the antenna producing a big round dome worth of signal is actually going to be really good for your connection with the transmitter and receiver on the video. That's the reason you do this. Because a linear antenna only sends the signal out the side of the antenna. So it produces a big wall, a big round can, like a soup can worth of signal. Nothing comes out the top of the antenna. So if I point this directly at my transmitter, from my receiver to my transmitter, there is no signal from here, no signal going to the other one. It all comes out the side of the antenna like a soup can. Okay, nothing comes out on top. So if you have your antenna like this on the truck, and you think, oh, I'm going to lay it down so that, you know, if I lay my antenna down, nothing's going to hit it, and then I won't have to worry about it getting banged up while I'm driving my truck. Bad idea, because all the signal is going to come out in a soup can like this. Nothing is going to come out here. Nothing. So as soon as your truck turns and you get to the end, there's no signal here. You're going to lose the video. Probably lose the video in a very short range, because this stuff is coming out like a soup can. It's out the sides is great, but nothing comes out here. So, circular polarized antenna and linear antennas, two very different ways of sending and receiving the signal. That's the only thing they are better for. Okay? There's a lot of setups. Here's where we get to kind of like part two. There's a lot of setups that do very, very well with a circular polarized antenna. They do not do as well with a linear antenna, even though you can actually get a better range out of a linear antenna in some ways. This might give you a better quality of video in the close range because you're always moving around. This will probably get you a longer distance as long as you can keep the signal going sideways. Okay? Now, here we go. I drive this truck all around my neighborhood. Probably, I'm going to guess it is probably 200 or 300 yards away from where I sit. And where I sit, I'll show you right now. Where I sit is right in that chair. Right beside the shipping bench. Okay? I sit in that chair. And I sit inside this building, which has a huge steel door over here. It has another steel door over there, and the rest of the building is just completely full of wiring and machines and everything else, okay? So I'm actually sitting inside my office, and I drive this thing around my neighborhood, outside, through 2 houses on this side, okay? All the way around the back. There's a road easement on the far side. On the second house over, there's an old road easement. I can drive way up and down that road easement while I'm sitting here in my chair, okay? And that's the stock stuff with the linear antenna. You got it? The linear antenna. Now, with my setup, this works great. Actually works better than this. That's just my setup. I've heard reports from other people who say the polarized antenna works way better for their setup. And I'm like, yeehaw! If you find something that works for you, I couldn't be happier for you. Like, that's just fantastic. If you find something that works, do it. Be happy with it. Enjoy your FPV. And now we're going to go to kind of part 3. Okay? I don't think there's any real right or wrong thing about either one of these. They're different. I've tested them both out in exactly the same environment on the same day from the same chair with the same everything, and this actually works better for me. I get a 10, maybe, let me try to gauge this. I don't know, it's hard to grade, but I'm going to say this antenna, the linear antenna, gets me 2% less video quality, but I get a much more consistent signal. Way out, way out, up, down, way down the road while I'm sitting in my chair at the office. Okay? So, this gets me slightly tiny, almost indistinguishable, slightly lower video quality, but much more consistent, less breaking up. This antenna seems to have an extremely tiny bit more clarity on the video, but it breaks up a lot. It doesn't actually disconnect, but it breaks up a lot when I'm down, way down there, 2 houses down, going up and down the old road easement. Okay, so 2 houses away, I don't know, that's, I can't even begin to think of the radio interference. I'm surprised the transmitter for the steering and throttle even still works way over there, but it does. And so I would prefer the linear antennas for my setup. That's just all I gotta say. Now, I want to talk about modular units for a couple reasons, and I'll explain this to you. I'm going to turn the truck around. So, back in my earlier Madzilla videos, we talked about having the mount up here. I had the camera mounted inside, swiveling around so I could see out the front, and I could look around at the back tires and stuff. It was fantastic, okay? So, that was great. And now, I've changed it so that I have this separate kind of a mount on here, and I 3D printed this. It was really easy. If you look underneath, you can see I got magnets in here. See my magnets? And they hold this on. See? Now, we're going to talk about this for a second, because this to me is what makes this whole system really fun. Now, I'm not just stuck here using this on my Madzilla, because as soon as I take this off, as you can see, the roof panel is perfectly clean. There's nothing there. I unplugged my 2 servos from my receiver, which is right underneath the radio box here, and I'm done. This is all stationary. This here is my zip tie that fits all the way through and holds my transmitter on right here. Okay, and then my antenna output is there opposite the camera. My servo sits on this here mount, and zoom bang, I don't know what to tell you. This works great. I love it to death. It's super fun, and I can just click it on. If you happen to have some kind of a huge crazy crash, it will probably come off, but it won't come off when you're bouncing around. And the best news is, with the way the Madzilla is with all the steel tube work, the magnets are strong enough that I can actually hook it underneath. See? So I can click it on the top like this, or when I'm not using it, I just push it down and I hook it and I let it sit underneath, and it just sits under there and it won't fall off. And then it's protected in case it gets banged around while I'm traveling in the car or something. Don't have to disconnect my wires. It's really, really, really easy. And I couldn't say enough about how much fun this is. Matt and I had a bit of a conversation the other day about trying to do a FPV comp. I also, comp, I don't know, but event, at least some kind of an event that involved, you know, making it through a course, all FPV with your tiny trucks. Rob and I talked about this as well. This is a pile of fun. I recommend it for anybody. And anyway, that's my current FPV setup on the Matzilla. I want to show you guys that I do, in fact, continue to use this system. I've been using it for, well, it's been a few months now anyways, and I'm very happy with it. It's reliable, it's easy to use, it looks great. It fits on my face, which is strange because I have a funny face. This is a lot of fun to drive. The truck runs the rocks with it and everything. It's a very stable truck. You don't want to run FPV up high, exposed like this, if you're going to, you know, bash or go really fast, or, you know, I'm slow crawling with this truck, and so it works for me to have it up high. I like the visibility better up high than I did when it was mounted inside, so that's the reason for the change. And now I can literally unplug the 2 servos and stick it in my Jeep, bang, right on the magnets. Very easy to use. Highly recommended, guys. If you're doing FPV, put a note in the comments on YouTube. I want to see your stuff. Put a video in. If you have any tips or tricks for me to make better use of this FPV system that I've got in the links in the description box, please put in your comments and stuff. I'd love to see it, and I'll read up on everything that you guys write. And I'll watch your videos, so show them off and have a really fun time doing tiny trucks.